What's up, guys? So today I'm going to do a video about coiling and giving some basics on mod usage and batteries and this and that. And this is going to be sort of like an overall introduction to rebuildables. So what we have here is a Nemesis and M16 and a Sony battery. These guys are mechanical mods. The Nemesis comes in 3 compartments with a locking ring and a button. So if we were to take it all apart, the center comes apart, the button comes out, and this guy, locking ring, goes back and forth and can even come off. With these, you have 2 other sections up here. You have one for a kick, which most people don't use anymore, and you have a little baby ring, and those are for odd size batteries and stuff like that that need a little extra space. So what you can do is take these 2 guys off. You don't need them at all. So what you're left with is the top, this guy, bottom, button. Okay? Real straightforward stuff. The battery fits in here. So screw that in, put that on, put this guy together, and then you tighten this bottom button up until it stops. And that's a fully functional mod. First time you screw down onto this guy with a dripper, sometimes you're going to have a gap like that, you see? And what that's caused by is this thread right in here, this guy, it unscrews. So the easiest way to adjust all this is you unscrew it until you get a spacing, screw this guy down all the way so it's flush, and then tighten this guy back up. You back out your battery, and you back out your button, leave some space in there, screw it back down, and then there you go. That's good to go right now. This mod, the Sentinel, and other mods like it are made up of 3 components. You have a top, middle, and a bottom. These guys are threaded together just like this. So they just sort of screw into each other. And the nice thing about this is the mod itself is sort of self-adjusting. So what you do is once you put it back together, you just sort of tighten it up and you're done. Up here you have a floating pin, so what I mean by that is when you screw anything into the top, and you can see right here how it's flush. As I screw into it, sort of pushes that pin up a little bit. Both of these guys have firing buttons on the bottom, and that's what makes the actual connection. This whole thing, there's no wires. It's just nothing but metal on metal. So what happens is you need this guy to complete the circuit. So as you push on the button, that metal part comes in contact with the bottom of the battery and it completes the circuit. Same with this guy too. So today we're going to build on an iGo-W. It's a super simple, easy design. What I like to do is screw it down onto here, tight, and yank the cap up. The cap has 2 O-rings, keeps that guy nice and secure. When you do anything on your mod, make sure that your locking ring is secure. That way you can't fire it in your hand. I've burnt myself many a time doing that. The center post is positive, the 2 outer posts are negative. What we're going to do is we're going to make a coil that connects one of the negative posts to the center positive post. Each one of these posts has a Phillips head screw. What we're going to go ahead and do Just loosen them. Just like that. When I wrap my coil, I do it on drill bits, and the reason why is because they're standardized and you can keep track of what you've done, make a little log, all that sort of stuff. This little pack I picked up at Home Depot for like $2 in the bargain bin, so it's great. Today we're gonna wrap on a 5/64 drill bit. That's pretty standard. It's accepted as a good starting point by a lot of people. This is 26 gauge Canthal. What I like to do is bend down a 90-degree angle, just like that, and I will hold it next to the drill bit itself. And then what we're going to do, like a music box, we're going to go around. A lot of people will pull the wire around, and you don't want to pull it and move your hand like in this motion. You want to turn it in this motion. So I'm going to do 5 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then what you're going to do is grab this leg, pull it back down, grab both of these together, and sort of tug on one a little bit, and you're done. Slide it right off. There we go. Done. When mounting this coil, I'll leave it on the drill bit. It makes it a lot easier. So now we're going to slide in first the positive, and then the negative. So that's what it looks like right now. When I have these in here, what I'll do is I'll push the coil towards the center, commonly called making this a center build. Makes wicking this guy a lot easier. So I'm going to hold it right about there, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to screw these guys down. Don't go too tight or else you will break your wire. Then I'm just going to clip these guys off. Tighten it back up. And we have a pretty decent coil to start out with. Once the coil's mounted, what we want to do is sort of prime it or condition it and work out all the hot spots. And the hot spot is a portion of the wire that's just heating up faster than the rest of the guys. So I'm going to fire this. You'll see what I'm talking about. Sort of heats up. Actually, that one's pretty good. What you want to do is heat it up and then squeeze. Heat it up and then squeeze. And I hope you can see it. What happens here is the coil is actually heating from the inside out. It's not starting on the outside, it's starting in the middle. And that's what you want. You want it to be even too. Alright. That's your coil. This is an ohm meter. Definitely highly recommended for anyone that is going to be building their own coils. What it does is it measures the resistance of this coil that you've just built. So you screw it on, turn it on, 0.62. So this gives you a reference point as to how hot this is going to get and how it's going to act. I would recommend keeping some sort of journal or notepad with all your builds in it and documenting the different resistances and sort of rating those vapes and figuring out what you like best. These are also very important to have because you can build a crazy build by accident. Maybe one that doesn't have enough resistance, or maybe has more than too much. And this way it gives you a kind of a factual point on what you've done here. If this were like a 0.9, I would say that's too high and it's not going to vape properly. If this was like a 0.2, I would think, wow, it's pretty hot. So ring's locked. Screw this guy in. Now we're going to put some cotton in it. So I use the organic cotton from Walgreens and it works great. A lot of people have all different kinds of cotton they like to use. For me, this is fine. So what I do is I make a real soft and fluffy tail like this. So with this here, I'm going to insert it into the wick hole on the side. And you just grab the other end, pull it through. Then what I'll do is tuck it underneath so I can get some plier or a little nose or anything. So tuck it down just like that underneath the coil and running along the leftovers just like that. So there are all different ways to wick these things. I tend to be a little boring when I wick. I just go through it and then I go underneath it. So you can see it only takes up half the deck. And you can see the cotton is pushed up underneath the coil and against the post pins. Don't push very hard. There's 100 ways to wick these guys. You know, some people like their cotton real dense, some people like their cotton real fluffy. Some people don't even go through the hole of the coil and they just have it sitting on a bed of cotton. So that's it for a single build. I'm gonna put some juice on it real quick. When I put juice on, what I do is I'll fire it just real fast. And what it'll do is it'll heat up the liquid and it'll sort of let it drip into there a bit better. Just like that. And then fill up the back if you want, because there's only one coil on this plate. Not a bad coil. Not bad at all. So that's how easy it is to get started building a coil like this. This is technically not a micro coil, this is probably a mini coil. But good flavor. Yay, happy vaping.